After dealing with disaster in Bloomsburg, the bright red Buckeye bow tie of Nick Anderson appears in Indianapolis. But will this return be triumphant, or will points leader Pat Winchester spread the gap more in qualifying? Up next, the Tough Trucks Challenge resumes in Indy. Monster Power coming at you from the granddaddy of them all, the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana. Next stop on the Tough Trucks Challenge, part of the Lucas Oil 4-Wheel Jamboree Series. Standing by with your points leader, Pat Winchester. Pat, you just finished up practice not that long ago. How did the run go down for you?
Things went good. Truck felt good. We didn't really try to set the world on fire. We tried to air last year during practice, and we wound up demolishing the whole front end of the truck, and needless to say, we made a lot of work for ourselves. So we were just kind of trying to feel some things out and make sure that our setup was going to work for the weekend, which I feel it will. So now we can go into qualifying tonight and hopefully make a decent pass.
You come into here with the points lead. You get a few points in qualifying, you get a few more points in racing, but it is important to get the fast qualifying time out here because then you also know what your truck's going to do at speed.
Yeah, it's kind of essential, at least to get a decent qualifying time. There's that carrot of having the qualifying points, which we do want. It's a very narrow lead that we have right now above Nick, and then right behind Nick is Al Varner. So we gotta bring our A game to this deal. I mean, it doesn't take much. We mess up once or twice and we're out. So we gotta make sure we're running good, running consistent, and we can bring that to the table on Sunday.
So you got the one Ford Raptor, you got the two Ohio Chevys, and then over here you got the Oklahoma Spoilers in the field. These guys didn't show up for Bloomsburg, but they were running quick in qualifying. At least the two of them were. Yeah,
we've got a few hired guns out here this weekend. I'd be lying if I said I was hoping they could take care of some work for me before I got to them in the field, because the way everybody's running, I highly doubt I'm going to see the number 2 and number 3 points guys right now in the bracket first round. So it'll be interesting to see how things pan out and where everybody winds up.
Now you make a tire change because we come over to asphalt. Real quick, and we kind of meant to ask you about this earlier, but with the buckshots, going back to the buckshots, what was the advantage to moving to those when you were on the dirt and the grass?
The buckshots are just extremely aggressive, and we developed traction problems when we went to this motor combo that we have. We're just overpowering everything. So we needed all the traction we could get as far as that goes, and that's actually an Achilles heel with us right now this weekend is we have too much power for the track. I won't let the crew chief pull any timing out of the motor to simmer it down a little bit. I like it kind of feisty, so we like having that power on tap and just hope everything can hook up and go. But and I can't even say that this tire choice we've got is ideal for the weekend, because we've got other heavy hitters like Travis Stevens out there that he doesn't have a choice but to run buckshots because of how his body's set up, and he was on fire today. I mean, he really laid it down and really did a great job. He's definitely one to watch this weekend. So I can't say the one's going to be better than the other, but I know that the pavement isn't very forgiving with the buckshots as far as wear. So we'll probably stick with what we have. We did bring the buckshots, but hopefully we don't need them.
You gonna go a few more runs in qualifying and just see, or you gonna just stay with these flat, or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. I'd be lying if I said it hasn't crossed my mind after watching Travis run to throw him on for a round, but I feel we need to get the truck on the board, regardless of where it is, before we start making changes out of the norm for our pavement setup. Once we feel confident with it, we may jump back and throw those on and just see what they'll do and see how it handles and see if it's a drastic improvement or not. But I can't say for certain.
And last thing, other than the pavement itself, how do you feel about the track setup? You got whoops out here for the first time this year. How do you feel about the track setup?
Track's great. I mean, I'm pretty simple to get along with. A lane's a lane when it comes down to it. I mean, you race the track that you're presented with. It's very rare that we have a track that we have an issue with out here. the common issues we run into is not something that your track builders can remedy, really. Out here, contrary to belief, pavement's like running on glass. Especially like the right lane that I ran during practice, it had a pretty heavy amount of dirt and dust on one corner, and traction is non-existent there. So it's either you take our method and burn the tires harder till they hook up, or you got to slow down and hug the turn tight and try to stay out of it. It's a matter of your driving style and your preference as far as that goes.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Pat. Good luck tonight.
Good deal. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to look at the points before competition gets underway. Coming into the first qualifying session of the final stop of the 2019 Tough Trucks Challenge, you can see Pat Winchester with a mere 35 points, separating him from former points leader Nick Anderson. Then right below Anderson sits Al Varner, another guy who has the potential to take number one before the weekend is up. He could win this whole point series if he plays his cards right. Then you see Travis Stevens and John Yoder rounding out that top five. It's going to be tight heading down the final stretch. Can Pat Winchester overcome the demon from last year? Qualifying starts next here on Monster Power.
This edition of Monster Power is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show and ticket info, plus articles, event breakdowns, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com.
A full field of 18 racers look on as qualifying action gets underway for the Tough Trucks Challenge at Indy. The infield of the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana. Logan Ellis in the white pickup in the far lane, taking on our old buddy Paul Hackle, the Swamp Donkey, a member of the Foy Toy racing team out of the state of New York. Hard charge right now for the Jeep out of New York, and a beautiful turn for Paul Hackle. Comes through the whoops, a little edge to Logan Ellis. Fairly new to the driver's seat of these Tough Trucks, but not new to the world of Tough Trucks. Member of the Ellis family, who also fielding the next level Chevrolet. We'll see in a little bit. A couple more passes. That truck piloted by Shorty Ellis. Pair of Ohio Chevrolets there. Paul Hackle driving hard right now to get out in front of him, but Logan Ellis looking real smooth, although he's not as fast as I think we'll see these guys get before the weekend is up. He's looking real good right now. This is a big track. You can lose your way on it real easy as Paul Hackle heads toward the final corner. Logan Ellis crossing the transponder cables. There goes Paul Hackle across the finish line. That's the little dirt patch at the bottom. Logan Ellis putting up the early fast time at a 1:01.820. 1:04.652, so both 1 minute plus runs. That should give you some idea of how long this track is as our next pair lines up. Jake Nichols, the godfather in the Foy Toy. We talked about Team Foy Toy. Well, there's the man himself. Jake Nichols lines up next to his old buddy Scott Martin in hauling ass. A pair of Fords out of the state of New York going at it. Here in session number one. Should be a pretty even matchup and an awesome pair of turns heading into the first leg. Maybe a little problem there for hauling ass. Scott Martin looking real good. Look at the hang time in the far lane. Jake Nichols leaps all the way over that tabletop as Scott Martin heads around into the whoops. Jake Nichols goes flying through there. Still pretty even, but a clear advantage to the Foy Toy Bronco. Martin will drop back even further right there as the Bronco just blisters the track. Look at Jake Nichols cutting around this course very, very fast. One more loop and he'll head back around to the finish line as he goes up and over that second tabletop. Scott Martin catching him just a little bit right there, but Nichols absolutely on a tear right now. And problems again for Scott Martin. He's off to the left-hand side of those outside jumps. Look at that beautiful final corner for Jake Nichols as he crosses the finish line. That should be the fastest time now. See what it is. 101 and change to take the top spot. Scott Martin, I believe, had a penalty because he missed that jump to the left front tire. He does at a 109.713. For Scott Martin, not the run he was looking to lay down as our next pair hits the starting line. We talked about him a moment ago. That's Shorty Ellis in the white Chevrolet. Next level, taking on the bright green Ford Ranger, who had a wild ride in Bloomsburg last time we saw him. That's Thomas Fowles in Mad Money. Horsepower advantage has to go to the Chevrolet. But look at the corner that Thomas Fowles just made. He will jump out with a slight lead on Willis Ellis. And another beautiful turn heading into the whoops. Little Green Ranger out of Pennsylvania looking awesome coming through the whoop section. Now to the outside corner and another beautiful turn right there. Problems for Ellis. He's off in the grass. He may have just incurred a penalty on the run. Thomas Fowles. Again, giving up a little horsepower, but laying down a very, very smooth pass in that bright green Ford Ranger called Mad Money. You see how smooth Shorty Ellis's truck is running, but he's having trouble in the corners. Again, they mentioned it before, running on this pavement is like running on glass. Beautiful final corner for Thomas Fowles. It'll be good enough for position number 3 at a 102 and change. And then the penalized run from Shorty Ellis at next level at a 108.780. Not going to get him into the top of the field, but he'll have 2 more chances before the weekend is over. More to come. Monster Power return. Welcome back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana. Our next pair already staged up. Another member of Team Foy Toy, that is Brett Sponenberg in the blue Bronco called Beer Money. Taking on Connor Patterson and that wild-looking Mustang that just got left at the gate. That's the Iron Horse. Another legendary name in the sport of tough truck racing. They need to go a lot harder here to catch up to Brett Sponenberg, who has some trouble there in Beer Money. It looked like he may have been having a problem with the front steering. I'm not sure. Maybe he just cut that corner too tight because he ended up on the outside of the whoop section. Sponenberg laying down one of those characteristic squirrely runs. It's a guy we've seen barrel roll that truck before, so you know he's not afraid to get after it. Connor Patterson right now struggles to stay with the Bronco. I think Sponenberg may be a full section ahead of the Mustang right now. Hard landing on the nose right there. We'll see what the time is at the end of this. It's not a bad run, but it's not a clean run either. Brett Sponenberg heading over the transponder cables at a 106. Put him in qualifying position number 5 as we wait for Patterson to finish his run. And I believe he may have gone off track there for a moment. Again, he's struggling, it looks like, to keep the Mustang within the guidelines of the track. You see the hood's coming apart too. Maybe having some problems with that awesome looking machine, but I don't know if he's going to lay down a time or not. Problems for the Iron Horse of Connor Patterson is our next pair. Pulls to the line, John Youngblood, the Wild Thing. You know he's going to live up to that name. He takes on our points leader, Pat Winchester, in the mental case. Remember, Pat said he has too much horsepower for the course. You can see him blowing the tires off. You see him get traction coming off the clay, and then as soon as he hit the pavement, the truck actually slowed down or bogged for a second as the tires struggled to find grip. Pat, though, out in front. Just needs to keep it consistent, though. Get a feel for the track. Does not need to blister it, although he's having problems. And he pulls off. Your points leader, Pat Winchester, heads for the pits. What is this problem now? Tempers may be flaring over there with Joe Pitts. We'll have to see. Those guys work very well together. I'm sure they'll get this truck running. Hopefully this is not a serious issue as John Youngblood continues on. And the wild thing, you notice he didn't slow down at all. I don't know if he even knows Pat's pulled off the course. It doesn't matter. He needs to lay down a good qualifying run as he and the team, Youngblood Motorsports, that being himself, Wayne Solly, Mark Noto, kind of playing spoiler here this weekend as Youngblood crosses the finish line up on the side there at a 104 and change. Put him into position number 4. Not a bad run at all for the guy who we saw on his top last time we saw him out in Lima, Ohio. Good to see him here, and there's Joe Pitts coming to take a look at the mental case Ford Raptor. What is happening in that pit area? Plenty more wild action to come. Henderson, Varner still to go when we come back to Indy. In Indy, continuing on with Tough Trucks Challenge qualifying. Our next pair on the line, Wayne Solly. We talked about him a moment ago. Hired gun for Youngblood Motorsports in the Thunderstruck Ford. Takes on the bright red Chevrolet out of Ohio. We were not certain we'd even see here in Indy. The Central Ohio Tires Chevrolet of Nick Anderson, who was the points leader coming out of Lima. You remember back to Bloomsburg, had a disastrous crash, and right now he's fighting to keep up with Wayne Solly. Solly looking awesome over there on the far side. Problems for Anderson. He's back underway, but he has fallen behind. Big wide turn, throwing dust all over the front stretch. Not the kind of run that Nick Anderson was looking for. Wayne Solly keeping it pretty clean. A little bobble coming back onto the front stretch here, but he's heading into the final leg. Look at Nick Anderson trying to catch up to him. A nosedive coming across the second tabletop, but wide again. Anderson not laying down the run that we thought he would here in the Ohio Chevrolet, the big Ford. Being piloted by Wayne Solly. Look out. Almost ended up in Anderson's lane. That could have been an absolute catastrophe. It will not be, however. Look at that. 101 and change gets Solly in position number 2, and Nick Anderson will have to settle for 5th for the moment. Not the kind of run that we thought either one of those guys was going to lay down. Here's another look at that big nosedive coming across that second tabletop. You can see Anderson trying to play catch-up here. He's a racer hard. Definitely shows. Look at the hang time. These trucks are built to land nose down. He just put that front end back together, too. Not the kind of run he was hoping for to start things off here in Indy, but still 2 sessions to go. Hopefully he didn't do any damage now as Travis Stevens in the Chevy-powered Ford takes on John Yoder in the Ford-powered Jeep. Pair of mutts here on the infield of the Indiana State Fairgrounds. 2 of the coolest looking vehicles out here. Yoder, who's no stranger to landing on his top, and Travis Stevens, who has been upside down here in Indy. One of the chosen few who has felt the sting of road rash here on the pavement of the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Though he's hanging out there in the lead with the horsepower advantage for sure. But John Yoder is putting up a good fight right now in the under-pressure Jeep. Again, we talked to Pat Winchester earlier about tire choice. Travis Stevens looks awesome right now. Remember, he's running dirt tires for the buckshots. He has no choice. Pat mentioned that because he has to keep the tires in, keep him from hitting up against the fenders of that beautiful Ford body that he's running on that thing. John Yoder will go into position number 4 to 101.655. We'll see what the time was for Travis Stevens. That should be a good run right there. New fast time, 1 minute and change for the beautiful gray Chevy-powered Ford out of the the state of Ohio, Travis Stevens. One last shot, looking awesome as Dale Denal, yellow Wild Stallion, takes on Al Varner in the AJ's Transmissions Bounty Hunter. Varner, runner-up in Bloomsburg, ended the weekend short one tire as he landed hard on the left rear and ripped the tire completely off the truck. Dale Denal putting on a good run right now in Wild Stallion. The KG veteran heads into the whoops with a beautiful turn right there. He may be a spoiler here. Oh, he has problems. He has just dropped a rear drive shaft going through the whoops. You can see it hanging down there, and he's going to come to a stop right here on the front stretch. He has done some severe drivetrain damage. It looks like he has ripped a U-joint clean out of the differential as Al Varner continues on in the AJ's Transmissions Bounty Hunter. This course may be a home wrecker before the weekend is up. Fortunately, so far, it doesn't look like we're going to have any trucks on their top. It's a pretty forgiving course in terms of upsetting the vehicles, but we are seeing some drivetrain damage. It's some severe drivetrain damage at that as Al Varner crosses the stripe. Should be a pretty good run for the man, the only other guy here besides Nick Anderson who's capable of really upsetting Pat Winchester this weekend. He'll go into position number 2, the Ohio Chevrolet right behind the Ohio 4. There you see Dale Denal. He's still got a smile on his face. We'll get the yellow Ford back into action here tomorrow under the sun in Indianapolis as Denal and the crew look back to see exactly what did break. Former Tough Trucks champion Mark Noto comes to the starting line in the Afterburner, another member of the Young Blood Racing Camp. Dale Denal being towed off the track, and Noto goes side by side with another New Yorker, Mike Leupold, in the new for 2019 long wheelbase Warhorse Bronco. Look at that, a pair of awesome corners heading into the first full leg. Now back to the outside, they'll head over the whoops. Maybe a slight advantage to Leupold. Both of these guys looking awesome right now. You're talking about two real clean runs. They're making tracks down the straightaway, but they're actually not overdriving the turns like we've seen a lot of the guys do in the previous heats in this qualifying session. A little out of shape for Noto, but he stays after. Now he picks up the advantage, heading toward the final leg. Dirt track and Mark Noto, he fell behind, but he kept the speed up and drives past Mike Leupold. Can he pick it up right here? Mark Noto comes flying back out onto the straightaway to pick up the #1 spot. Both of those guys, by the way, the only two down in the sub 1 minute category. 59 and change for both of those. That means Mike Leupold, as you see right there, will take the #2 spot here in the first session of qualifying, and that was our last pairing. So, Mark Noto shuts off the Ion, gets ready to climb out of the Ford. Leupold's going to snug up next to him here. That was a good pair of runs right there. That was an awesome matchup here in the first session of qualifying. There you see the top 5 and the bump spot. And Scott Martin sitting down at number 16. Mark Noto and Mike Leupold, the only two in the sub 1 minute category. Then it's Travis Stevens and Al Varner, the only two in the 1 minute and change category. And then Jake Nichols first into the 101s in the Foy Toy machine. Well, you don't see Nick Anderson. He's sitting 10th right now. He'll need to pick up the pace. And Pat Winchester, of course, you saw problems. He has yet to qualify for the field. So, will there be a dynamic shift here in Indy that allows Al Varner to creep up into the #1 spot? We'll find out. There's still 2 more qualifying sessions to go here this weekend in Indianapolis. We really appreciate you joining us for this edition of Monster Power. Our thanks to Lucas Oil 4-Wheel Jamboree staff and the Tough Truck Racers for their hospitality so far this weekend. We will see you next time from here in Indy.